Okay. Let me make sure that this is recorded. Yeah. Okay, guys, we are into the recording mode. If you have any queries, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and let me know because I can't see your chats. Yeah. Moving next to this, actually, there is a one more option. After you inserted this particular soil layers and controlling the water levels, all these things, there is a one more option called as an import soil, actually. Yeah, this is pretty much know that there is some kind of a complex structure for you. Let's say that the complex structure, what I'm talking is something like this. If you have a huge number of waves kind of a thing, like very sticky kind of a, your top soil layer is something. Let's use this here. If your top layer is something like this, you want to design it as a top layer. It is going up and then it is coming down and then it is going up like this. If I wanted to do these kind of a soil layers and all, then it's always suggestible to import the soil geometry. So there actually you have to import the soil geometry. From where you can able to import the soil geometry is like there is an option here, and that particular option that you can able to import it actually. So if you go here, there is an option called as an import geometry. You can click on this import geometry and then it will ask you, these are all the supported formats that your import can help you out on this. So if you have a AutoCAD files, you can able to import it. If you have any other CSV file with the coordinates, with the macros, that if you would like to do that, your geometry, even that's also possible, you can do that. Or else, like if you have any other things like STP files, any other neutral format is also fine, apart from parasolid, those kind of things. So any other format is fine. So you can able to do that and you can import it. So this way you can able to select that and you can able to filter out those particular things. So, and this is how actually you can import the soil and then you can work on it. The next one is called materials actually. So once if you just go for this, there is an option here actually. I have created a multiple soil layers, but I need to assign a material properties to an each and every soil layer. So if you would like to create this materials, there is a show materials option. You can click on this, or else if you are in on any of the tab, just put Control M, then your material window will open it here. Any of the tab, material window will open it. So now actually you have to go and create a new material. So all these materials that you have to work work around manually. And once if you are done with this particular material, let's say that I'm just creating it as a like a test one as one material, and I'm not giving any properties. Drainage type, you can just select it as an and drainage conditions, and I'm just giving OK. One second, guys. I need to provide some of the values too as well. A dummy material I'm creating. A dummy material I'm just creating it. Now just go to the show global. Once if you create any kind of a material, there is an option like this particular test one that you have to push it here. There is an arrow button, you can see this. You have to click on this particular arrow button, then automatically it will save your material over there. Okay, it will save your material inside your file itself, so it will be available for you forever. Until then you uninstall and reinstall, this kind of things will happen. This particular file will be always be available for you. So this is how you can create your material. You can add it to your global materials whenever you want it, and then it should show like this. Now if you have something is already there in your global materials, that's where like clay, I can bring it to my environment. Now I have something like a deep clay, I can bring it to my environment. I have something like a deep sand, I can bring it to my environment. I have something like a loam, I can bring it to my environment. And if I just give OK, now all these materials will be available for me. So my intention of telling you this is like, when you are working on any kind of a models, especially when you are working towards a project, please make sure that in materials, go for this, show global, and choose actually. So which material model that you wanted to save, or else you can just save all these particular materials in a single window. So suppose now there is an option that you would like to shift all these particular materials to your new laptop, or you would like to transfer this particular materials to your colleague who is working on with the same materials. Instead of creating all those particular things, you can do simply one particular thing. So what you can do over here is like, go to see users or public documentation. So this particular path that you have to go, there you have something called as an soil material lab. So if you just click on the select, then automatically it will take you to that particular folder. Okay. So now this particular material file, you can just copy. So whatever the materials I have it, now maybe whatever the materials that I have it, let me do one thing. Yeah, go for the select. I'm just keeping that here. So there is a file called the soil material lab. So now this particular file I'm giving it to all of you. See, you can okay, I'm not able to share the file, no issues. You can just go here. Now I'm adding a task. Now I'm just putting it as a global materials. Now onto this particular global materials as a task. If I just go over here, you have all the attachments there. So now you can just go for this particular soil material DB, soil material database that I'm just adding it over here. You can just download this, and where you have to paste this particular thing is like on your particular system also. You just have to go in the same location. So where this is like see users, in your users, this particular path is common for anyone. This is a common path actually. You can just go to this particular path, and then you can just able to put this one. So this is a path actually, this is a common path for anyone. So you can just go over there, whatever the downloaded file it is there, you can just put it over there. Restart the machine if materials are not reflecting properly, or else close the Plaxis and open it again. Then all the material properties, soil and interfaces, plates, I don't have anything. Geogrids, I don't have anything. Embedded beam rows, okay, I don't have anything. Anchors also, I don't have anything. No, it's okay. So like this, actually, whatever you have it, you can able to keep saving this. So recently I installed it, so that's the reason. Okay. So this is how actually you can able to copy your materials. So I'm just hinting you guys how to keep a database of your materials when you create, when you work on any part of, sorry.
Nine times free అయిపోతాండి. Okay.
I request everyone, if you don't have any queries, please mute yourself. Okay. So this is how you can able to add the materials, and then you can able to keep it with you when you are moving to any other machine, or when you are moving to any other places, or like anything. Not only here, if you want to work in one machine also, you can just bring your materials and you can start working on it. No need to create the files again and again and again. Okay, this is how you can able to do that. Any doubts? Okay, now go here. I'm just going to this particular thing itself, onto this particular location. If I just go for this is the one. So I'm just selecting this particular path, and now going back here, I will just keep that particular materials. The thing. Now this is the soil material is there. I will just simply delete that. I'm just simply deleting that particular thing. Now close this thing. Okay. Now close the Plaxis also. I'm not saving anything. Now reopen the Plaxis. If I just reopen the Plaxis, you just agree, continue that. And now when you just go start new doing any kind of a project, if you are just going here and put Control M over there and show global, you don't have any kind of a messages over there. I mean, you don't have any kind of a materials over there. And now actually what I'm going to do is like, again, select this. This is the path, right? So on this particular path, what I need to do, you have to go again, click on this particular path. And now onto the desktop, I have this particular file. I'll just cut this particular file, and I'm just keeping it here. Now this material DB is get copied over there. So now I'm just closing that. And now if you want, once you just try this, if it is not reflecting, don't worry, close the Plaxis, because it's always required a restart, and reopen the Plaxis again. So once if you reopen the Plaxis, now you can able to see this one. Okay, now I'm just putting Control M for the materials. Now you can see all the materials are listed over there. This is how you can able to take care of your materials. Please, from today onwards, when you are working on it, please take care of your materials. Please take a copy of the particular materials. Please keep sharing. Like if you have some material databases, multiple databases are also being accepted over there. So you can just copy of all those particular databases, and then if you want, you can use this particular platform itself to share across the material properties belong within you guys itself. So this is where actually the global materials is one that you can able to address it. So is it clear on the material wise how you need to take the backup and how you need to store the materials and all? So if you have something in your office, if you're working on a Plaxis and there are so many materials, and if you want to take a copy of those particular materials, it's very simple that you just need to copy that and put it here. Is that clear? Okay. If there are no answers, even I'll go in my flow, no issues. Moving on to the structures wise, actually, this is where actually in the soil that you are just going with a borehole. You are creating the boreholes that you whatever you wanted. You're going for adding a number of layers, and then you are going to give the height of the values. And you can just also go, not only always the top layer has to be start from 0, top layer can also be start from 10, and then it has to go to 5, and again from -5 to -2 it can go, and -2 to -5 also it can come. So then acts then only sorry, then only thing is like access point will be located over here. Access point will be located over here. Okay, this is how actually it is very important. So where you are choosing it, this is the top layer and this is the bottom layer. And now if you would like to modify this particular borehole options and all, so anyone in the meeting also can admit those guys. So if someone lost the connection, like, um, again you can guys, or you guys also can able to admit them, okay, directly. Okay, now cool. I was able to create a boreholes, the multiple boreholes, multiple soil layers, everything. Now I would like to edit those particular things. How I can able to edit this? If I select on this, my borehole will be selected. Now if I would like to change the water level, I can just simply go like put it as like -4. But what if I just wanted to edit the complete information? So right click on this. There is an option called as a modify soil layers. Click on this modify soil layers. Then you can able to see this particular window again. So now from this particular window alone, if you want, you can create this particular materials also. Now you can just able to assign a one by one materials that whatever you want. This is how it shows like this. Okay, now this is where like, okay, so when you have a borehole option and you are saying that I told you that there is a limitation with the 250 boreholes, but that is a huge enough to do any kind of a project, and we could able to control the soil parameters, everything it is there. Okay, but what is the importance of a geometry wise actually? So geometry will give you a convenience that as you belongs to an analysis team, you can always request your CAD team to do the geometry and give it to you as per the requirement, and they can able to provide you that too as well. So you can take that leverage. Okay. Now moving on to the structures now. When I just go to the structures, here I'm just thinking I would like to make this into your two different segments, and then upper part would be like a higher density, a lower density, and the below part should be like a higher density with the same material properties, varying densities. I would like to see that. So how to change that? So to change that, actually there is one option, but that option will not straight away work out for you. So I'm just going to show you the wrong option first, and then I will correct you more. So what people do is like, there is an option called cut polygon. There is an option called as a cut polygon. If we just go and create this, now I'm just going to separate this. If I just go and now I would like to separate this one. Wherever I drew this particular line, and the moment that when I give a right click, it is not highlighting it. It is not highlighting it. But this can highlight that. Polygon can help us when you just go for a soil polygon, create a soil polygon, and then you were just creating one particular soil layer like this. Let's say you are creating a soil layer like this. Now I would like to split this and I want to assign a multiple values. Now you can just go create a polygon, and then you can able to cut this. Now see, this line is working. But now when I just go and trying to work out on this line will not work. When you just wanted to split this particular things, this line will not work. But when you just wanted to go, you have to go in this particular way only. You have to go in this particular way only. Now on this actually, I can assign a different soil material or different densities or a different densities in this polygon. In this polygon, I can just go whatever the way I want it. Here one soil, here one soil, here one soil, here one soil, I can go. But if you really wanted to go in this particular way with only the boreholes, the only option left out for you is like, yeah, the only option left out for you guys is like, you have to go to this borehole, right click, modify the soil layers. Now the top layer actually, I wanted it something like different things and all. So now you say that top layer, I wanted something like 10 to 7 is one layer, and then 7 to 5 is a one more layer, and then 5 to minus 2 is a one more layer, and if you want you can add one more layer 2 as well, and minus 2 to minus 5 is a one more layer. So in this kind of things that you can assign one material here, one material here. Previously it was a single soil layer, you are just going for a split. But if you have an access to your geometry, like an import the geometry, you can go with the splits very easily in your CAD. It's a known fact. CAD is meant for designing, so you can able to go for n number of splits, and then you can able to import the geometry. But for importing the geometry, you should be having a special license called, in Plaxis they'll call it as a VIP license. If you have that VIP license, then only you can able to access it. Otherwise, you can't do that. So, so this is how actually you can able to control this one. Now moving on to this structures, this cut polygon will work only on the soil polygons, not on the borehole data. Please be remember that this cut polygon will work only on the soil polygons, not on the borehole data. So if you have a borehole data, you are always able to edit it only in the soil mode. If you have a structures data, we can able to edit them only in the structures mode. See this, if I want to go for a soils here, I can't do anything onto the structure. If I have a structures module, I could able to edit this, but I can't do anything on my soil polygons. Okay, now there are like multiple options in the structures module. Slowly, as we are going through the projects, that we will be looking into that. But just wanted to show you something. Like for example, that you were just creating some kind of a beam over here. Embedded beam row. You're creating a beam. Okay. Now this particular beam, I want to make a copy of like 5 copies or 2 copies with the same material properties, everything. So do I need to assign the material properties all the times? No. What you can do, you can just simply select this one, and there is an option called as create an array. You just click on this create an array, and in which directions that you wanted to do this particular things. In X directions that I wanted to do, I wanted to draw that in X directions, and then the number of columns that I wanted is something like how many number of columns that I wanted. So 5 pieces I wanted, 5 columns, and column to column the gap is something like 0.2 meters. If you want, you can just give that. That's just give okay. Now this is where actually you could able to see this one, and now you want to control the parameters of this. You would like to control the parameters of this. So this is where I would like to introduce you to one thing called as a selection explorer. Previously, in the same selection explorer, you were able to modify this uh, head level of your borehole in similar way, but there it is not that important. But to the structures, your selection explorer is very important. You have selected this one, this gives you the coordinates of this, and it is all there. It is all there actually. So you could able to assign those particular material properties, and you can able to do that one. And then there is a one more option called as a model explorer actually. If you just go for this geometry and the model explorer, in the geometry, how many points are there, how many lines are there, how many polycurves are there, and how many embedded beams are also there. You can able to see this one. This is a beam 1, beam 2, beam 3, beam 4, beam 5. Now I would like to say that this is my beam 1 and this is my beam 2. Okay, if you just expand this one, this is where like you can able to change the positions of an each and everything and all. And if you would like to change the points of this one, yeah, now let's say nx, I don't want this at minus 15, I want this at like minus 28. Now see this one, the point it has been moved it already automatically. So whatever the way that you want it, you can able to control those particular parameters and all. And if you would like to delete those particular things, you can select this by holding the control. You can able to select that, right click and delete all of them. Here actually you are selecting only the embedded beams, the lines, whatever you want it. You can just able to select this. Now the lines I would like to delete it, right? So you can just select these particular lines and you can delete it. That's very important, the delete option. And with the model explorer, by expanding in detail, why I'm showing you guys is like, if you miss or if you delete any one important point, it will eliminate your main component also. So it is very important that what you are deleting it, you have to be very careful on those particular things. So suggested, before going into that, please take a clear picture. Once if you just go for an option, click on this an array, and then you just like to go for this 3 columns, and each distance is like 2 meters. This is how it will create it. Later on, if you just go and select this one, okay, now I don't want this at like minus 20, but I want something at like X distance. I would like to travel it as like minus 30. So this is where actually it is moving on. So minus 30 dimensions it is going, but not now to the minus 30 also. I want something like minus 10. This is how you can just able to control those particular things. So from that particular position onwards, it is expanding that. So please be careful about this particular geometries and how it is expanding. For each and everything that you just need to be take care of it, for each and everything that you need to take care of it. Now see this one, I select this particular point. Now this is minus 20, this is a minus x direction. Minus 20, really I would like to make it as like minus 22. That means the other thing, it should be overlapping perfectly. From that particular position, it is getting overlapped for that. So now it is an x, right? So now I would like to make it as like y is 8. Height, it will also be controlling in that particular way. Okay. If you would like to control this particular point, again, you can just make it as like minus 22. Please be careful while creating an arrays. And now why I just overlapped it is, yeah. Now for looking purpose, actually, if you just look into this, it's only a one particular item that you feel. And this is a one item and this is a one item, but there is an overlap is happening. So when you are working on your project, it is high possibilities are there that many overlaps you can create it across your geometries. Many overlaps you will be creating across your geometries. So you have to be very careful while creating this, and then you have to make sure that the geometry is correct or not. So to make sure that the geometry is correct or not, there is an option something called as in check your geometry. So click on this check geometry. And then it shows you like the check geometry, checking within max distance, no adjacent geometries has been found. And this throws you a problem, because actually if you just see this one, there are like two things with the same coordinates, and then the geometry checking, it was telling that the objects has no found numbers. Okay, but when you just moment go over to your line, this is a line 1, this is a line 2, this is a line 3. What is happening to the line 1 on line 2? It's all, both the two are like overlapping with each other. Line 1 and line 2 are like overlapping with each other. This, when you just take up this particular geometry to your meshing, where you would like to do the mesh, and if you just generate this particular meshes, it will automatically generate the mesh. There is no problem at all. And if you just go for the structures also, and when you're just checking for the geometry checking status is also says that actually it's all good. It's all good. Okay, now what is happening? See, this is what actually you need to understand this. Understand this. The moment that when I do the mesh, the line 2 it got eliminated automatically, and the line 1 it was there. So that particular actions, checking up the geometries, merge equivalents the geometry. So it is automatically taking care of it. So if you are for good users of AutoCAD also, you can able to see this one. Now it's going for checking the geometry, checking with the max distance of this, no adjacent geometries have been found. Next, the moment that when you clicked on merge equivalents, geometry is happening it. When you go for a mesh, automatically it is taking care of deleting the 0.3, 0.4 and all those things. And then it is creating a mesh. Okay, this is the user friendly or the advantage of being with the Plaxis. When you do a structures, over a structure, if you are overlapping something, and then if you are doing it, then automatically that will consider that particular geometry, and one geometry it will eliminate it, only it will consider the another geometry. So if points are also overlapping it, it is a good idea. But make sure that the moment that when you are moving from structures to a mesh, always try to hint to the software saying that you also need to do check for geometry. So that's why you just click on this check geometry. Check geometry will collect the inputs and give it to the mesh in the backend. When the mesh is started, any merged components are there, then automatically it will try to delete those particular components. So, and now this is point wise, you can go create a point, point load, point displacement, and you can also create a fixed and anchor too as well. The possibilities of the lines and the possibilities of creating a soil, tunnels, loads, prescribed displacements, fixed and anchors, drains, hydraulic conditions that you can able to model, all these things. These all actually we can able to see in our soil, onto this thing. Yeah. Now moving on. Now, if I would like to delete all this particular thing, sometimes it is not possible. Only here, the structures, elements, and all that you can able to delete it like this. So you have to manually go and delete each and every options and all. Yeah. Now, if you would like to go for any kind of a new project, now you can just go for new, don't save this, and then just give OK. Okay. Now, I will tell you one more thing before getting into our projects. One shortcut option that I will tell you that. Let's say that you are working on a very new design, a very new model that you are working on it. And now, previously that you have seen something called like materials has been created, and then you can take a copy of this particular materials and you can bring it to your machine. And now, when you would like to bring the design, now Bharat has designed something. Now Vivek has to take that particular design and open in his machine. And in this particular case, you have to transfer the Plaxis file. If you would like to transfer the Plaxis file, sometimes it might be in GBs too. Not in case of 2D, but if you go in case of like 3D, it can be in GBs too. So sharing that much amount of a huge data is always a problem. Is always a problem. Okay. So for that, actually, what you can do is like, let me do one thing. I'm just creating one dummy soil data of like -2, and then I would like to go like some 0 to -5 and -5 to -10 And if I would like to assign a material properties that is already there in my machine, so I can just collect this particular material properties, and then I will be just assigning those particular material properties. Just give OK. And now to the structures module, I went this. Now I'm just going something called as an prescribed displacement. Now I'm just doing some kind of a displacement, and there is some kind of a point load that I need to create it. Now I just created a point load over there. Now this is where actually the point load, you can see this. I just created a point. Yeah, it is just a point load. So where you can able to just create it, or else like if you just wanted to create a line load is also fine. So you can just go and create this particular line load as well. Okay, so this is how actually you can just able to create this. Now after creating all these particular things, what I did, just go file, save as. I would like to save this particular project. I would like to save this particular project and Plaxis only. Let me take it as 2023. And now I'm naming this as a test1 as the file that I just named it. I'm just saving, I just saved this particular file. Now go back here onto the D drive to the Plaxis 2023 March batch. I could able to see this. If this is the file that if you would like to share for this particular project, it is very small. That's why you can see it's 7 KB. But if it's a big project, a dynamic analysis, or it's a very huge thing, that's very, very difficult. Or if you are working on a multiple versions, now today you're working on 2022, 2020, some guys have only 2018, some guys have 2023. How would you like to transfer those particular things among? So for that, actually remember the folder structure, how when you save any file in a Plaxis, that saves the Plaxis file as this is the first file and this is the second file. One is application file where it will support you to open the Plaxis thing that what you have done. And the other one is a dat file that we calling that as a data file. Actually, you can say that. Okay, so the dat file that you can also call it as like a data file that you can say that. Now here, if you just go this, there is a data success P2D logx, P2D log file that you can see this. There is a log file actually. So if you just open this particular log file, you have the complete informations. You have the complete informations. What informations you have? The informations that is recorded here. When you are creating something, there is an information it is recorded over here. This complete information it's got recorded. Now, moving on this, I will just create a new one. Now what I did, whatever the file that I have it, I'll just Control A, Control C. Now coming here to the next part, now you can click on this run command, or Control 9 is also fine. Put all those particular things and click on run everything. Now see this, your geometry came. Okay, so if you want, you can also test it on your own, saying that like I'm just copying this particular file. I can also put it here. I'll make it as like run command. So when you just go for this, the discussion I'll keep this. So this is how when you just run this particular thing, then automatically your soil layer will be created over there. Okay, so where that particular file you need to be there is like, first actually the image, it looks like this. When you just save any kind of a file onto the specific folder, that whatever you are saving it, it looks like this. So the first is called as an application. First one is the folder and the other one is like an application. And to this, actually, what you have to do, you have to open this particular one. You have to open this particular one, and then you have to choose this particular file. The one that which I highlighted in the image is the what you need to select that. Then in that, whatever it is there, this is the content that you can just have a give a trial and then try to run it in your machines. So from today onwards, we should not hear anything or we should not answer to our boss saying that when I'm doing something, my Plaxis got crashed, I need to restart it from the beginning. If you are telling that particular word, no one will accept in the industry because there is a backup plan. You should be knowing about your backup plan too as well when you are doing on something. So please collect this information and keep it with you ready all the times. If you are a good backup guy, you can just always keep these particular files in your OneDrive in a office itself, so that even when your entire system got crashed, it also you will be having that particular data with you. Is that clear? How you are going to maintain the material databases and how you are going to use the run command options? Any doubts in this?
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So basically, for first 2-3 sessions, I will be taking about you the basics of understanding the importance of creations, all these particular files. Okay. Someone now actually, if you just go here to the same folder, when you just open this particular material file, try to open that in a notepad. Okay, that's a bad idea. Okay, that's a bad idea to open that in the notepad, but don't worry. Now, today Vivek is working on some superb material, which is having all the complete information stored in that. And now, without sharing this particular file or without sharing the whole Vivek's material database to someone else, I would like to share only for that particular project what is the materials that I used it. Then you can just share only this particular thing. So you can just go and share this. Only this particular part you can able to share it. Okay, this is where actually it will be having this material information.
So it will share the properties of the materials only, na?
Only material properties.
Okay, fine.
Okay, not more than anything, only the material properties it will be sharing you that information. Okay, and now if you don't have like, if you share this particular file with respect to version only, it will work. But if you share this particular file, it will be working with plus or minus one version also. The guy sometimes plus or minus two versions too as well. But that depends upon the hotfix and bugs that's just clearing it to the backend. So, but that's a good option when you are working with multiple versions. Always try to share this particular file, so where it will be having the complete data, and as per that particular version, it is going to save that. Okay. So moving on, I think now you got a clear idea also how I'm going to run the commands, take the backups of all these things, and how I'm going to create the material properties and save all those particular material properties. So the homework that I would like to give you is like in this particular tutorial. So when I just open this tutorial, in the attachments, we have something called as a PDF. You can download this particular PDF also. And here that you have some materials created. There are some boreholes they have created, but no need to read all these things. Just only to the material thing, you can just go over here. Try to click on the materials and try to create this particular material. It's a very simple material. Try to create this particular material and save it in your machines, into your global environment, and take a backup. That is your homework that you have to do it. I'm telling you that don't neglect this particular exercise. Maybe for you today it is very simple, but for you when you are working on some serious project in the last moment about you need to leave for a presentation, what are the materials that I lost in each and every material, then what's the situation? You should be knowing the backup plan. You should be knowing the backup plan. At any point of time, the amount of time that we are spending once should not be repeated at any point of time. Please be careful. So add, time is money. So please give an importance to your time and know this particular option. That's why I have taken a complete session to store how the databases are backing up and which are the very important files that you need to keep it in mind all the time. In case of a crash, you no need to do all the things at the time. Only thing is like you have to do, sometimes you do something, go save that model. That's it. Save it. Later on again you are doing something, go save it. When the save is highlighted or populated, then try to save this particular geometry so that everything will be always there with you. So there are cases where we have seen in a big companies, only in a Plaxis in the early stages, they have done some 2 days or 3 days of a work on a Plaxis without closing the Plaxis, and finally they said that the model got crashed. You have to build so many structures, right? It is for 2D, it's very simple, but in 3D, it will kill your time when you're building a structure. So all the time, then I wanted to redo this particular material property. So creating one material property will take you some 10 to 15 minutes of time. And like this, if you want to create a 50 material properties, how much time it will take? So know this option and use it. It will be saving you a hell lot of time actually. So it will help you to save those particular timings. Yeah. Now once if you are done with those particular material properties, then I will be taking you up to the model which is already explained in that particular application. That is where the settlement of a circular footing on a sand with uplift force or with a downward force, with foundation or without foundation, how we are going to simulate it. That is where like we are calling it as a rigid foundation, or we are going to call it as a flexible foundation. So if it is a flexible foundation, how we are going to model it, and if it is a rigid foundation, how we are going to model it, and what do you mean by rigid? So that particular things that we will be discussing it in our next classes. But backup plan is very important, and it plays your very prominent role. Running up these particular commands, everything, all the things. Now you're suddenly your machine is not working, but you have this particular log file with you. Go open the Plaxis in your boss laptops and run it everything. Within seconds of a time, your 2 days or 3 days of work will come over there. I have seen so many advantages for this. That's the reason now normally I used to take a special interest for this particular database backup and all. And what is happening when you are saving a folder, how many folders are creating, you have to be understand those particular informations as well. So I hope like now you all are very clear that how to take a material backup and how to take a model backup. Is it all clear?
Please share the link
Yes,
of
sir.
the lecture.
Sorry.
Will you please share the link of the today's lecture?
Yeah. No, no need to ask me at all. Automatically, it will be updating it in the wiki page. So within 2 to 3 hours of a time, it will be update. If not, in the next day, immediately it will update it. So you can just go to that particular link.